Hello, my name is Ben Stevens, and the title of my speech is What Euthanasia Has Done. Preservation of life itself is being challenged. So often we see in the media activists fighting to end a life earlier than God has planned. Governments all over the world argue about the choice of life and death. However, in the words of Thomas Jefferson, the first purpose of government is to protect life, not its destruction. The chief purpose of government is protection of life. Abandon that, and you abandon it all. It is of the utmost importance for humanity to return to this preservation of life. Dying is considered better than living. This is one of, if not the strongest arguments for euthanasia, with people deeming it better to go through with assisted suicide rather than to suffer, especially those with terminal illnesses. Euthanasia is seen as a route to take for the sake of not being a burden to one's family and friends. Not only in a financial sense, but in the emotional sense too, deeming it better to die rather than to have their family watch them suffer. With euthanasia becoming more and more prevalent, it seems death is being offered more than life. With the rise of euthanasia, more and more countries offer euthanasia, with euthanasia being offered in as many as 10 different countries, such as Spain, Canada, the Netherlands, and certain parts of the US. One of the most prevalent countries in the lead for euthanasia is the Netherlands. The Netherlands offering euthanasia and downright encourage it, even going as far as to offer it to minors. In the Netherlands, it is legal for a minor at the age of 12 to request for euthanasia with parental permission. However, the lengths of euthanasia in the Netherlands doesn't stop at minors. Euthanasia has also been causes for disabilities and physical illnesses. The people with these disabilities and conditions had no say in the way they were born. Only God had a say in the creation and made them how they are for a reason. Thus, offering death should never be an option. Euthanasia is often done in secret. This has become an issue and is one of the key points in the arguments for euthanasia. People believe to avoid the dangers of euthanasia being done in secret, it should be brought into the mainstream. However, aside from suicide and assisted suicide being illegal and a crime, it is also a crime against God. Although not every human belongs to religion, they do belong to humanity, which is why suicide or assisted suicide in any form should be seen as selfish. To end one's life willingly, when life is so precious and often ended abruptly for some, is just distasteful. Although euthanasia is being done in secret, which sometimes goes wrong and leaving the victim in a worse state, doesn't mean it should be made more prevalent or made legal or brought into the mainstream. There are many examples of other harmful activities being done in secret. However, those are not made legal simply for the preservation of life. If euthanasia is banned, then why not ban driving without a seatbelt or jaywalking or other harmful things that can end a life? However, those things are often done in ignorance, or for lack of a better term, they're done absent-mindedly. The difference is the deaths caused by those things are often accidental, whereas euthanasia is done willingly. So euthanasia is done. A counterpoint to be made is the lack of legal safeguards for euthanasia and fear of it being abused. However, they believe that if euthanasia be taken away because of the lack of legal safeguards, then so should other laws with few safeguards. One argument even goes as far as to say that, in the case of the abuse and illegal right, it is not sufficient enough to justify withholding that right to die. Our belief is contrary to euthanasia. As a Christian, it is our belief that all things are made and ordained by God, and that man was made in His image. Therefore, to deliberately destroy that image and take the matters of life and death into one's own hands is of the utmost disrespect to our Creator. Our death is already predetermined. God has set a time to be born and a time to die for everyone. There is no escaping the fact that you and I will die someday. However, death was meant to be a natural part of life, not an artificial part of life. So many people these days try to prolong their life or shorten their life with machinery and artificial means. In just 2021, over 10,000 people chose to end their lives with euthanasia. That's over 10,000 people that could have been saved if given proper treatment from family members and physicians. Euthanasia is incompatible with physicians. It goes without saying that a physician or any caregiver's first task is to preserve and save life. Physicians, doctors, nurses, and all others in the medical field took an oath to fight for a patient's life, not a patient's death. The value of the patient's life should be as important to the physician as his own. Human beings are valuable because they are made in the image of God. Therefore, to deliberately destroy that value is to destroy the image of God. Thus, euthanasia cannot be a final option for physicians, but not a resort at all. Doctors should not propose death. Rather, they should offer different options leading to life. Doctors were meant to help, heal, and care. They were not meant to bring despair to their patients. It goes against everything a doctor stands for when he takes a patient's life. Doctors are meant to be the arbitrators of life, not death. That standard should be brought back. We should offer help and care. Although it might seem death is around the corner, it is important to ease the individual into his passing. Art helps to encourage them to keep fighting. Rather than show them options leading to death, we should show them options as a crutch, help them lean on, given the chance that they might survive. Humanity should focus on bettering itself rather than destroying itself. The situations these people are in are terrible. However, it doesn't mean it has to end with self-murder. There's help out there that we should offer it, whether it be physical, psychiatric, or spiritual help. We should offer them help. Life was a gift, one that should be cherished, never taken for granted, and not be thrown away. Thank you.
My name is Alyssa Curran, and my speech today is Kill the Lies, Not the Child. Women are being pushed to help with the initiative of killing all special needs children. They are given a choice. Most families are so sure of what they would choose, but you never really know till you're faced with a life-altering decision like my family. 90% of children diagnosed with Down syndrome are aborted. Would we become a part of a statistic or choose a child's right to life? In society, popular thought and woke culture has blinded us to the hypocrisy of our world. Today, in America, the topic of abortion has divided our nation. In the recent election, U.S. Representative from Indiana, Frank Mervan, said of a pro-life candidate, "You're just too extreme for us." In the dictionary, extreme is defined as excessive, unconventional, radical, and drastic. Those words are used to describe those who want to protect life. Those who are pro-choice write off anyone pro-life as closed-minded and intolerant. Our world is so consumed with fairness and being woke, but are willfully ignorant to those actively participating in genocide. People who are pro-choice don't deny that life is of value, but say life is not worth giving up their freedom. We look at murderers with such disgust and think, how could you do this? But proclaim in the streets that murder of innocent life is acceptable. A pro-life advocate does not issue liberty, but believes liberty is limited by another person's right to life. Those who are pro-choice say that they're solving the world's problems of starvation, misery, poverty, and the potential for global violence and destruction. They say that they're solving the world's problems by committing mass murder for convenience. This is their justification. An average of 66,000 women die in abortions. Unsafe abortion is the leading cause of maternal deaths. They claim abortion has helped women and decreased mental illness, but studies show those who have had an abortion have responses of stress, anxiety, depression, regret, anger, shame, loneliness, poor self-esteem, and suicidal thoughts. 31% of women who have had an abortion attempt suicide. 65% have suicidal thoughts. If abortion is helping women, then why are these women trying to kill themselves? It's not because they're happy. It's because they're overwhelmed with guilt. These are the ways it hurts women. An average of 66,000 women die in abortions. Our world is so hypocritical. They create new movements for equal rights, but children who are a little different are not worth anything. When given the diagnosis of Down syndrome, women are given the recommendation to terminate the pregnancy. Doctors give them outdated and incorrect information and women are encouraged to get an abortion. In Iceland, almost 100% of such babies are aborted. Every 1 in 1,000 babies are diagnosed with Down syndrome. Iceland has 4,200 children born a year. Not one child has been born with Down syndrome since 2012. Iceland's pride of being the perfect country has gone as far as genocide of children with Down syndrome. They see them as defective and not worthy of life. Society fights so hard for equal rights, but children with Down syndrome are stripped of their rights because they have one extra chromosome. An example is Lorraine, the mother to Jackson Buckmaster, a perfect boy born with Down syndrome. When given the news, she was told to immediately abort him. When she declined, the midwife said, "Women like you make me sick." The support is only there if they choose abortion. They are looked down upon for choosing a child with Down syndrome. No help is given, which makes one feel so alone and like you only have one choice. I am here today to tell you that isn't the right choice. Children with Down syndrome are such a blessing. They are so full of joy and bring happiness to everyone they meet. My little sister Emma was born with Down syndrome. When given the diagnosis of Down syndrome, a lot goes through your mind. For my family, it was, would she ever have friends? Would she ever be a healthy child? And would she ever be accepted in society? 10 years later, I can tell you Emma has many friends and is a happy, healthy little girl. She is a ray of sunshine and my best friend. For those who receive the blessing of having a child with Down syndrome, they know it is not easy, but it is a gift. In Hosea 4:6, it says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because thou hast rejected knowledge." Our world wants to hide you from knowing the truth about those with Down syndrome. Society wants to say that they're unnecessary members of our world. They want to kill them so they can continue to establish fear. For those who are unsure and scared, there is help. There are organizations and support to help you in every step of your journey. Because of abortion, millions have died. Our view of right and wrong have been changed forever. Women are left with tremendous guilt. Because of abortion, millions of babies will never breathe their first breath. If we continue to live in the lie that abortion is helpful, we will continue to see the damaging effects it has on our world. Kill the lies, not the child. Thank you.
Life is full of choices. What will I wear today? Should I post that? Is the chocolate cake worth it? I wish these were the hardest decisions we ever had to make. However, we know life is not that simple. Having children is a huge choice couples make every day. How to care for them presents an even harder challenge. Most parents want to give their kids the best life possible. Sadly, many are choosing to expose their children to murder. Those children see blatant displays of selfishness, and we justify it as a kindness. Most people are blind to the fact that these choices are causing serious problems in society. Our choices today affect the children of tomorrow. Our choices affect unborn children. There is no doubt that a fetus is truly a living being. Abortionists claim that it's just cells. Well, the definition of a cell is the fundamental unit of life. The only difference between you, me, and a fetus is our form. When an abortion occurs, it rids all chances of a great person being born. Most people have heard the name Tim Tebow. However, not many people have heard that he was almost aborted. The doctors told his mother to throw in the towel. There were too many challenges she would have to overcome to have her baby. She did not share their opinion and decided to have him anyway. Today, Tim Tebow is an avid Christian and major pro-life activist. He has been a testimony for the Lord to millions. He even made a pro-life commercial in the 2010 Super Bowl. Could there have been millions of others like him? Lawyers, doctors, politicians, and other good people. We'll never know. Our choice to allow abortion got rid of 930,160 chances in 2020 alone. One of the main groups affected by abortion is the mothers. They say they're pro-choice, but have no idea what they're choosing. They aren't told what happens to their baby at the clinic or the mental health effects. They simply do what mainstream media tells them is best. A mother's physical health is at risk after she has an abortion. The risks of miscarriage, preterm birth, and infertility altogether is majorly increased. There are serious complications in 1 out of 50 abortions. It is very difficult to find any information on what happens to the mother's body after she has an abortion. These are not popular or well-known facts, but that does not mean they are false. Perhaps the saddest thing is what these mothers mentally go through after an abortion. Nightmares are the new normal. Depression, anxiety, guilt. They feel all of it. A girl named Penelope recalled the day she found out her mother had had an abortion years ago. She saw her mom sobbing and saying, "I've done something awful, I've done something awful, please, forgive me." The New York Times claims that there's no increased risk of mental health issues, but the testimonials say differently. Every story I found of women who had had an abortion, even those of pro-choice opinion, say they think about that decision every day. Most went through depression. The women of pro-choice views say they feel no guilt and feel liberated. They also say they think what they would have named their child, how old it would be, when their birthday would fall. That doesn't sound liberating to me. That sounds like regret. It's time to choose to start helping women who've had abortions. More importantly, it's time to choose to put a stop to abortion altogether. Our choices affect the nation. Kids aren't growing up in a utopia. They're growing up in a battleground. Depression is at an all-time high. Crime keeps rising. This is directly attributed to abortion. With 59% of abortions done by mothers who've already had at least one child, those siblings are left to wonder why their life was more important or wanted than their siblings. Young children are not fools. They know when they see mommy's big tummy that something special is happening. They know, no matter how much we try and tell them differently, that what's going on inside mom is a miracle. Imagine how confusing it is when they learn you can get rid of that miracle anytime you feel like it. What's to stop them from thinking later in their teen years that they can just mistreat, even get rid of, any person they feel is not worthy of their attention or is too much of a problem? The crime rates in the U.S. are up. It's very interesting to note that whenever the abortion rates rise, so do the violent crime rates. Abortion was made legal in the 1970s. Violent crime rose by 126%. In the early 2000s, many advances were made determining when life begins. Abortion went down. Violent crime also went down by 51%. In light of recent events, abortion has been a hot topic and fiercely debated. The next topic on the agenda of any news channel? Violent crime becoming more common. There is nothing to conclude except that abortion lessens the value of life and therefore cheapens the quality of our children's lives. How can we continue to choose to allow abortion? Abortion will cost our nation not only unborn life, but people who are walking around. How do we fix this? How can we change the course our nation is going? It's time to educate. Educate women, educate children, and educate the country. When studies started coming out about how cigarettes cause lung cancer, what happened? People stopped smoking. In 1965, 57.6% of adults smoked, but in 2020, only 12.5% of adults smoke. Our information affected our choices. It's time to teach people that there is a consequence for their action. It's time to show kids that people are people no matter their form. If their skin color is different, their financial status is different, or they're in the womb, they matter. We can say this all we want, but it won't change unless we choose to start taking action. The Bible gives us a choice. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you will obey the Lord. and a curse if you will not obey. Will we choose to obey "Thou shalt not kill"? Will we choose to push for educating the nation on what abortion is doing to our society? It's time to teach people that there is a consequence for their actions. It's time to show kids that people are people no matter their form. Perhaps the reason abortions are so common is because women are not told what the procedure is, the mental health effects, or the guilt they'll feel. Perhaps the reason crime is soaring is because kids are witnessing murder daily. We show more mercy to puppies in the pound than we do to an unborn baby, and children are picking up on this. I ask you today to think about the unborn children, the mothers, the confused siblings, the nation. Think what choices you can make to prevent abortion. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rocio Fernandez, and the name of my speech is Life is Not Disposable. Abortion has become a topic in America in which people confuse healthcare with murder. People decide abortion is their best option without giving it a second thought or knowing the consequences. Most women do not truly understand how harmful an abortion can be. They give no thought to the life that has no voice or respect. Abortion has spread a societal belief that life is disposable and has caused a division in our country. We, as a community, should educate and give women all their options to respect and honor life. Life begins at conception, making abortion murder. Pope Francis explained, "Abortion is murder. Those who carry out abortions, kill." At the 3rd week after conception, often even before the mother is aware of being pregnant, all the organs are already starting to develop. It is a human life, period. And this human life has to be respected. It is very clear, scientifically, it is a human life. Unfortunately, people choose to overlook the fact that life is present. They ignore that a human is still a fetus long before it is viable. No matter what difficulty people may face, it should not be an excuse for murder. Abortion has become something women see as convenient. Scientists have made it as easy as taking a pill, but they don't see it as it truly is. Some women don't believe abortion is wrong because they think it solves their problem. How can we solve one moral problem by allowing another with murder? As a community, we must inform the mother how this choice will affect her and the life that she chooses to ignore. Abortion has no respect for life. At 5 weeks, the baby is referred to by such women as pregnancy tissue rather than a baby. When women go through with an abortion, they are not considering the baby's future. Instead, they think the baby is taking away their freedom and future. This should not be acceptable for human beings who claim to value life. Abortion causes harm that in some cases is not reversible, but Planned Parenthood describes it as simple and safe. However, this cannot be true if the side effects can last a lifetime. Abortion can cause future health risks like the weakening of the cervix, which can lead to preterm deliveries. Therefore, we must tell the mother all the harm abortion can cause and not encourage it as the safest option. The harm abortion causes to the mother is more dangerous than people know. Compass Care minimalizes the side effects of abortion by claiming they cause bleeding, cramping, dizziness, drowsiness, nausea, and so much more. But they don't discuss the mental issues and grief abortion can cause. As a result of abortion, 44% of respondents regretted their decision, and 42% of women's adverse psychological effects continued for 10 years or more. Although women may think they know all the effects of abortion, nothing can prepare them for the emotional toll that happens the day they decide. Abortion not only harms the mother, but literally destroys the baby. Yet they say abortion is a safe medical procedure that protects lives. How can you claim abortion protects lives if you are murdering a baby who may or may not survive outside the womb? Most laws protect the mother's health, not fetal life, and this needs to change. There should be a voice for the voiceless. Babies do not deserve to be a human sacrifice. We need to give a mother all her options before discussing abortion. There are multiple different options for a mother who is struggling. We must show the mother that asking questions and finding the help she needs is okay. We must inform the mother that adoption, legal guardianship, parenting, or co-parenting are better alternatives than termination. No matter what a mother is going through, we must show the mother a solution rather than leading her to murder. Abortion is destructive and needs to come to an end. We cannot just sit and watch others get involved. The cause is too great. Even after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the numbers are still rising. Yes, it was a court victory, but it did not provide legal protection to preborn children in every state. We can no longer allow abortion to cause a division in our country. Only 13 states have made abortion illegal since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. We, as a community, should fight to make abortion illegal in all 50 states and show all alternatives to abortion. Abortion has confused our natural nature as humans. As a result, we are no longer fighting for life. Instead, our nation is sick with the sin of shedding innocent blood. We can no longer belittle life and give babies no right to life. We need to start fighting for a world where we no longer need to fight because every child is protected from violence in the womb. A community that is divided by abortion is destined for failure. We must stop this heinous act nationwide by educating and give women all their options to respect and honor life. We must start exposing the lies and cruel deceptions that happen behind closed doors. Only then will people begin to realize the evil abortion is. In this day and age, we must be educated and start fighting for the miracle that is life. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophie Novak, and my speech is on infanticide in a modern world. Infanticide is a heinous crime committed by mothers and doctors throughout the whole world. It is affecting third world countries and even America's populations at alarming rates. The decrease in population is not the only thing we should be worried about. We should also be worried about why mothers are willing to kill their newborns. Infanticide needs to be brought to light to every modern American. Infanticide is not only affecting third world countries, but is absolutely making its way into our modern population. Infanticide affects the very women that abortion, Planned Parenthood, and infanticide claim to protect. In many countries, such as China, India, and even America, female children are seen as less desirable. Many infanticides are sex-selective murders affecting the female race. Many women will see infanticide as a way to get rid of an unwanted pregnancy. Many excuses we hear are gender-related or simply because they do not want to care for the child that God has given them. Many women will use this excuse to get rid of their female children. In America, female children are seen as less desirable. Remarkable portions of infant deaths from ancient Greece to present involve abandoning an infant in an exposed place to die alone. Abandoning an infant and infanticide is as old as sin and is taking place in our modern society. The unsafe people of this world who believe in evolution will blame their animal instincts. Are we not better than animals? In some countries, they do not even consider a baby a human until certain ceremonies are performed. In medieval Europe, they will call babies changelings, and in Africa, they will call them witch babies or spirit children. As such, they could be abandoned or killed without guilt. The murdering of our children needs to be stopped and abolished. Infanticide is quickly making its way into our modern American society. Babies born with a low APGAR score, those with deformities, and those that lose their mother in childbirth are often those that face dying by infanticide. Hospitals today are now not required to give infants, genetically disfigured babies, the medical care they require to survive. In fact, many hospitals will cover up these infanticides as stillbirths. America's weakness for standing up for their young has been a problem for generations. Americans have been committing abortions at alarming rates for over 50 years. As a result, Americans have become desensitized to the killing of their young. Americans now and throughout the modern population, children under 1 year of age are most likely to die by death by homicide. Their mother is more likely to be their killer than anyone else. Recently, in California, new laws have been passed that will make it easier for children to be killed by their mothers. California's new reproductive law that's up to vote to pass says, in Section 7A, notwithstanding any other law, a person shall not be subject to civil or criminal liability based on the outcome of their pregnancy, including miscarriage, stillbirth, abortion, and prenatal death. Laws like these need to open Americans' eyes everywhere to the horrible acts that we are allowing to happen. California's new AB 2233 law states that any woman who kills their child by means of crude DIY abortions or by neglect or excessive drug use will be immune from prosecution. Laws like these need to open Americans' eyes to the tragedies that we are allowing to happen. In America and throughout modern society, children are more likely to be killed by their mothers than anyone else. In America, we need to stand up and speak up for all the new laws concerning infanticide. In truth, 70% of Americans think that partial birth abortions should be banned, yet we are allowing them to happen every day. As Americans, we need to stand up against these new laws, but instead we are allowing the government to rewrite our history and to cover up infanticides as stillbirths. As Americans, we need to speak up against this. Poverty is the number one reason that women will abort their children or kill them by infanticide. Because of this, the government needs to have a better support system for these struggling mothers. We need to love and support these mothers, even if we do not support all of their decisions. The murdering of our children needs to be investigated, exposed for what it is, and abolished. Thank you.
My name is Chloe Enriquez, and the title of my speech is The Victims of Abortion. Abortion has affected the United States in many different ways. It has affected people to question whether or not a child in the womb is just as valuable as a child outside the womb. It has also affected the chance that a human just has to make it outside the womb. But worst of all, it has affected the morality of this country, to the point that it is legal in some states. It has made killing a child as easy as swallowing a pill. Many know that abortion is a crisis for the unborn, but many need to know that it is a crisis for the lives of the women having an abortion as well. Abortions are dangerous. The purpose of an abortion is to terminate a pregnancy. The purpose of a pregnancy is to allow the growth and development of a child in his first 9 months of life. Interrupting the growth and development is damaging to both the mother and the child. There is no such thing as safe abortion, because there's never been a time in all of history where there were damage-free abortions. Abortion has been around from using the clothes hanger method to the 2 procedures used today. All are just as dangerous as any other procedure used in history. The first procedure is surgical. For this procedure, the abortionist used tools called the sulfur clamps and corrupt blades to remove the baby from the uterus, and dismember the baby from the uterus. The most popular type of surgical abortion is called dilation and evacuation procedure, which is usually performed between 13 to 24 weeks into the baby's development. The abortionists dilate the cervix and use their tools, the sulfur clamps and corrupt blades, to remove the baby limb by limb and bone by bone. The second type of abortion procedure is chemical, used by pill or injection. For this procedure, it is used 39% of the time and is the most successful out of all the procedures. The Food and Drug Administration has recently put out an announcement that would allow the abortion pill to be available at Walgreens and CVS. However, despite the media ensuring women that the abortion pill is perfectly safe, they failed to mention the risks, including extreme pain or even needing surgeries afterwards. Along with women suffering, there is a part of 2 generations missing because of abortion. The United States has over 600,000 abortions performed each year, and since 1973, an estimated 63 million have been performed in the U.S. alone. The babies are dying from abortion. Not only are the babies dying from abortion, they are dying from surviving abortions. According to the Abortion Survivors Network, in 2020, 1,927 babies were born alive after abortions in the United States. For every 1,000 abortions performed, 2.1 babies are born alive during the procedure. This means more than 1,900 babies are dying from surviving each year in the United States. This estimate is based on only the reported survivors because not all of them are reported to the ASN, due to the United States not being required to report these incidents. There is a reason why these incidents are not being reported to the public media. They claim that a fetus is just a clump of cells and abortion does not kill. But how can somebody survive something that cannot kill? The truth is, pro-choice knows that the babies are alive. And the women believe that they're doing the right thing for themselves and the baby. The abortions are dangerous for women. The women are naive to the complications that abortion may lead to. That is why we must inform women about the dangers that they are facing. Abortion is dangerous for women mentally. Some studies have shown that in the mental area, the risk of depression, anxiety, and suicide are greater for a woman who goes through with an abortion rather than a woman who gives birth to an unwanted child. Many are traumatized after giving birth to many are traumatized after looking at their now dead baby after the abortion pill has done its work. But before a woman consents to an abortion, she is informed by her abortionist that it will actually benefit her mental health. But not only are they lying about their mental after effects, they're lying about their physical side effects as well. Abortion is dangerous for a woman physically and can lead to long-term damage, such as infertility, cervix damage, or even death. During a procedure, there is a risk of small pieces of bone and body parts being left in the uterus. If the uterus does not properly contract after the chemical abortion, or the woman changes her mind mid-procedure, the woman can have the risk of miscarriages in the future, cervical damage, uterine rupture, and once again, death. The chemical procedures can also lead to many complications, including cramping and pain, 96%, fatigue, 10%, vomiting, 12 to 40%, nausea, 18 to 26%, and headache, up to 44%. The teleabortion study reveals that 6% of abortions complications have led to emergency room visits due to how severe they were. According to the Guttmacher's Institutes, 2,380 women per year get sent to urgent care due to the abortion pill. We have to fight not only for the lives of the unborn and the survivors of abortion, but for the lives of the women having an abortion as well. The world will always try to hide the truth. No matter how much longer God allows this world to last, there will always be a need for the truth to be revealed. We will be blessed for this. For the word of the Lord says in John 3:21, "But he that doeth the truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God." Thank you.
My name is Kinsey Collins, and the title of my speech is Planned Parenthood and Abortion. Is Planned Parenthood a bad thing? Does it matter that Americans protect preborn children? Are preborn children really even alive? These are questions we all must consider. Planned Parenthood claims to stand for healthcare. Though their mission sounds inspiring, Planned Parenthood's work carries a much darker theme. Planned Parenthood is very anti-life. They destroy hundreds of thousands of lives each year. This is a very serious issue. A child is alive as soon as he is conceived. Gender, ethnicity, eye color, hair color, and other traits are already determined at fertilization. A baby's heart begins to beat at 6 weeks. At 8 weeks, brain activity can be recorded. At 12 weeks, he can swallow and scrunch his hands. At 18 weeks, he can recognize his mother's voice and hear and respond to music. At 22 weeks, he is able to survive outside the womb. Preborn children also yawn, cough, feel pain, respond to sound and light, and sleep just as we do. Abortion prevents preborn children from having a chance at a full life. Sadly, 970 preborn children are torn to pieces, poisoned, and deprived of vital nutrients by Planned Parenthood every day. Planned Parenthood inhibits the formation of adoptive families. The number of couples in the U.S. on waiting lists to adopt is between 1 and 2 million at any given time. A mother with an unwanted child can give him to a loving adoptive family who is eagerly waiting to make that child their own. For every child Planned Parenthood refers for adoption, they abort 133. Planned Parenthood ignores preborn children's rights. Their website repeatedly states, and I quote, "Only you know what's best for you." This is a smooth way of convincing a woman that she is not making a terrible choice. Every preborn child has the right to live. This right is not given by any person or group of people. It is given by God himself. The Bible clearly states in Psalm 127:3 that children are an heritage of the Lord and a reward from God. Psalm 139:14 says that children are fearfully and wonderfully made. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee." No person is an accident. Every person is loved by God and worthy to live because of God. Planned Parenthood is not only anti-life, but also pro-eugenics, which is believing people with specific qualities are better than those without said qualities. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, was a racist and eugenicist. Her inhumane vision to make so-called greater races better and so-called lesser races weaker was made a reality through Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood specifically targets minority groups. On April 23, 2021, Planned Parenthood's blog posted the following, and I quote, "The difficult truth is that Margaret Sanger's racist alliances and belief in eugenics have caused irreparable damage to the health and lives of Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, people with disabilities, immigrants, and many others." Though they try to apologize for Sanger and have removed her name from their historical website, Sanger's beliefs are still reflected in Planned Parenthood. Today, over 75% of Americans are white, yet 79% of Planned Parenthood's abortion facilities are located in non-white neighborhoods. This preying on minority groups was and is nothing short of a modern-day Holocaust. Perhaps more than any other ethnicity, Planned Parenthood targets African Americans, whom Sanger referred to as human weeds. The Guttmacher Institute, a pro-abortion organization themselves, has confirmed that, and I quote, "More Black lives are killed by abortion than any other causes of death combined, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, accidents, suicide, homicide, and HIV. In addition, Planned Parenthood willingly allows donors to give specifically for the abortions of Black babies. Planned Parenthood is still the anti-Black institution it was created to be. Black lives don't matter at Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood's basis for abortion, women's health, is a sham. Their arguments to women for why they need an abortion leave out the truth. There are key facts about abortion that Planned Parenthood communicates either poorly or not at all. Abortion is not beneficial to a woman's health. David Ferguson, a psychologist and former professor of psychological medicine, analyzed reviews from the National Collaborating Center for Mental Health in 2013. He found that there is, and I quote, "no available evidence to suggest that abortion has therapeutic effects in reducing the mental health risks of unwanted or unintended pregnancy. In fact, in his study, abortion was associated with increases in risks of anxiety, drug use and misuse, alcohol misuse, and suicidal behavior. Even in dangerous situations, Abortion is not necessary for a woman's survival. The 2012 Dublin Declaration, bearing over 1,000 signatures from neonatologists, obstetricians, midwives, pediatricians, and other medical professionals affirms, and I quote, "As experienced practitioners and researchers in obstetrics and gynecology, we affirm that the purposeful destruction of an unborn child is not medically necessary to save the life of a woman, that the prohibition of abortion does not affect in any way the availability of optimal care to pregnant women." In fact, neonatologist Kendra Cole promotes early delivery of babies of week 22 or later gestation because both mother and child may survive. Abortion at Planned Parenthood is an evil that must be stopped. Millions of babies are mercilessly being killed. This onslaught is immoral, unethical, and unnecessary. Instead of murdering children, America needs to strive to improve the foster care and adoption systems. This can be accomplished by better recruitment of foster parents by social services and by allowing faith-based organizations to have bigger roles in the foster care and adoption systems. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ben Gomez, and the title of my speech is Crime Against Life. Life, liberty, and the security of person are our constitutional rights. When we infringe on these rights, it becomes unconstitutional. There are two sides to every war, good and evil. The world cries that abortion is a right. The Bible says it is not only a sin, it is evil. It is simple. Abortion is wrong. To directly murder a human being is wrong, no matter the circumstances. According to Webster's dictionary, the definition of abortion is the termination of pregnancy. Abortion is killing an innocent unborn child that cannot defend itself. The person in the womb has every right to live just as we do. When we cannot come to terms with that fact, it shows our true motives for aborting that person. There are many reasons why women get abortions. In some instances, it is that they are not ready to parent a child, or that they do not want to be limited in pursuing their career. Abortion is a selfish act that the Rose says is a woman's right. To murder someone goes against what the Bible has to say in Exodus 20:13, "Thou shalt not kill." If abortion is terminating a pregnancy, then that means it is taking the baby's life. Murder is ending someone's life before one can live it. Exactly what abortion is. The being in the womb is a human being, just like every other living person. When a baby is conceived, he becomes a member of society and has every human and constitutional right, just as you and I do. When we cannot The person in the womb is not dead or inanimate. He is alive. A baby's heartbeat can be heard at 5 to 7 weeks of pregnancy. If a baby has a heart, a brain, fingers, and toes, his heart beats just like ours. He's no different from us. So how is it our right to say that he is not a person or a child? The pro-abortion supporters say that to dehumanize a person inside the womb by calling him a fetus is a tactic that the pro-abortion use in debating whether it is a right or is murder. They say because it is a fetus, it has no human rights and is an attachment to a woman's body. They say a fetus may have the potential of life, but is not a child yet. There's simply no logic to that belief. In addition, it is not only a small group of people that believe in this. It is 61% of America. They say a fetus is still developing and is entirely dependent to the mother, like a parasite. That still does not give the mother the right to have an abortion. Just as people in wheelchairs may not be entirely dependent on someone, but are still dependent on someone to a certain degree, does not give any the right to have an abortion, to end that life just because they're in a wheelchair. The being in the womb A solution to stopping abortion should be to simply take responsibility for our own actions. So many people on the road do not take responsibility for their actions and blame their circumstances for the decisions they make in life. Another solution should be to find Jesus Christ our Lord and Savior and follow the Bible as our moral compass. The Bible should be what we listen to, not the road, not our politicians, not to any human. The Bible says in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I sanctified thee. Before thou camest forth out the womb, I ordained thee a prophet amongst the nations." It says in Psalms 106, 37, 38, and verse 40, They sacrifice their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters. And the land was polluted with blood, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance. Therefore, people want... Another solution should be to shut down Planned Parenthood. The average cost of a first trimester abortion is $600. If it is a woman's right, then shouldn't it be free for every woman? Why is an abortion so expensive? Well, it is obvious. Their main goal is not to help women or care for them. Planned Parenthood is just another money-making organization like any run-of-the-mill company. A solution to stop abortions should be abstinence outside of marriage. When parents find out that they have a baby on the way out of wedlock, one of their first thoughts is to get an abortion. They think that they have options, but when they conceive that child, they were taking responsibility for anything that may happen. This is not an opinionated belief. This is coming from what the Bible has to say about abstinence outside of marriage. In Hebrews 13:4, it says, "Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge." It says in 1 Corinthians 7:1-2, "It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband." So if people want to act as they are married, they should accept the blessing of a child that God gives them. Abortion will not solve any problems, and it will not help anyone. It will harm a woman physically and mentally. One of the complications of an abortion is an incomplete abortion, where fetal parts or other products of an abortion of a pregnancy are not completely emptied from the uterus. Abortion is a terrible thing that man created. Abortion is not a right, and it is not just. It is wrong. Everyone will have their own opinions in life, but this is not a topic that can be justified by opinions. This is not an option that people have. It is wrong. Abortion goes against God, and no sin goes unpunished. Thank you.
The title of my paper is Embryonic Stem Cell Research Fails. A life is a life, and that should never have to be compromised just for the sake of research. It is wrong. Destroying one human life to save another is incredibly wrong thinking. Those that do not know God as their Savior will say that life is impossible to measure, but it really is just that easy. If the situation involves something in a woman's womb, it is life. That simple. Messing with human life has its consequences. Scientists use embryonic stem cells for research development for illnesses and finding out how they react with certain types of medicines to cure diseases. Regular adult stem cells do not have the same properties as embryonic stem cells or fetal cells. The scientific value of using embryonic stem cells is overstated with its flaws. We do not know for sure that using embryonic stem cells it is possible to clone transplant organs. Embryonic stem cells give rise to all other parts of the body, tissue, and organs. They give Embryonic stem cells are part operating and maintain self-identity and interplay between tissues and organs. The responsibility of stem cells is to help grow all other types of cells with different specific roles. No one knows for sure that using embryonic stem cells is possible to transplant organs. After a few trials were made on some patients with little success using embryonic stem cells, few doctors were in denial about the treatments and covered up the actual statistics of the trials. Later on, word got out about adult stem cells being far more successful in actually showing signs of improvement in patients than the dicey moves of using embryonic stem cells. Later on, regular adult stem cells are somewhat helpful in treating spinal and neurological disorders. Now, embryonic stem cells are not. Here's why. In 226 patients, embryonic stem cells were injected on a muscular level. They were given injections twice daily. They received 1 milliliter every 10 days. Adult stem cells Many trials have been criticized for its use of morally questionable antics. The first patient ever injected with embryonic stem cells was Timothy J. Atkinson. The test was risky. Surgery had to be performed within 2 weeks of his injury because often patients improve on their own. So if this is so, his injury wasn't considered fatal. Then why did they do this? Timothy said, "I'm doing well." However, no specific details were ever released about his actual physical health. What are they hiding? Supposedly, Planned Parenthood is a non-profit organization, but the money that is taken is 40% of over $400 million they took in their fiscal year. So when we get a cut or have other wounds, our bodies are prepared by the platelets in our blood to stop the bleeding. It's the way God made us. God made us with all kinds of intricacies and every detail in mind. He is not a stupid God. Planned Parenthood performs over more than 335,000 abortions a year. The statistics are that 1 out of every 8 women get an abortion. So if a baby dies because of your hands taking it, you have just committed murder. Life does not stop after the embryonic stem cell has been taken, so it should grow to become a living baby. It is not arguable that ethical issues of scientific work on aborted fetuses do not justify acting on those possibilities. The possible benefits of using aborted fetuses is wrong, and using aborted fetuses do not justify the possible benefits. The possible benefits of using aborted fetuses for scientific work is wrong and does not justify acting on those possibilities. The ends do not justify the means. Thank you.
Our third place winner.
Oh, our third place, oh, thank you so much. I don't have to do anything. Look at this. Our third place winner is, no, Alyssa Curran.
Shake your hand.
There you
You
go.
shake your hand. There you
Thank
go.
you so much.
You're gonna get that from me. You can stand right here. We're gonna take a photo.
Okay.
No,
all
we're
right.
gonna put her in the middle.
Okay, okay, there you go.
There we go.
I'm learning.
Second place.
Okay, second place, I love these names. Elena Judah.
Can stop for your handshake.
Good job, thank you.
And you're gonna give that.
See, I'm learning.
And our first place prize goes to.
Our first place, oh my gosh, is Georgie, oh no, I'm sorry. Kenzie Collins.